Sunday had 12 games on. There was many locker room trips. There were many big performances. There were blowouts. There were close games. There were surprises. There were injury fill-ins. And of course, overseeing it all was Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I'm here to cover the day's action filled with plumbers and electricians. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel and get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also, LockedOnDaily.com, you know what it is. That's where you find the best newsletter for your favorite team, whether it's a good team or not. We've got one, LockedOnDaily.com. Also, give us the double bang and the thumb up on the video over here. I think we're just going to get straight into talking about the action here because there was injury news, and I addressed it on some of the earlier shows about Brandon Ingram. We'll talk about that when we get to the Pelicans game here. So we might as well just get straight in here and recap all of Sunday's action. Remember, there is one game tomorrow, Knicks Raptors tomorrow. I will not do a regular recap show, I don't think. I'll see what I'll do. There's going to be shows tomorrow, don't worry. There'll be shows. But I don't know how the show will go. We'll see. Let's talk about the games. First one, Philadelphia 76ers and your mates, the Chicago Bulls. 108 Philadelphia, 100 Chicago is the final score. And the big fella was back. Joel Embiid returned. Joel Embiid started. Joel Embiid was on a minutes limit, apparently of 33. And he had 31 and 12 with 4 assists and 2 blocks. He took a million shots. He was sort of efficient, 46%, but he was back. The problem with Embiid and my reluctance to draft him and then trade for him is not that I don't think that he's good. Not at all. He's very good, clearly. But to be fair, I'd check out the defensive acumen of the guys on the other side. But yeah, Embiid is good, right? He's unbelievably good. That's got nothing to do with why I didn't want him. It's that I believe his knee is rooted. And I believe that we are going to see all of these things crop up multiple times this season with swelling and soreness and got to take some time. That is what I believe, and that is why I'm against having him. The numbers are great. Not a problem. I don't know how... Look, he came back last time and played 4 games and then was out again. I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but the worry of that and the balance of probabilities of it is why I'm against it. With Embiid returning, the big avocado played 7 minutes. Andre Drummond, he had 7 boards in that time, but yeah, we're not doing anything with that very clearly, and that meant that Gershon Yabusele also got cut down. Now, he started Yabusele, but he played 14 minutes. 4 points there, so yeah, it was a nice little option to stream him in, and you do have the opportunity here with no games on, and I say no, but yeah, 8 games total over the next 4 days. If you want to hold on to someone like a Yabusele and see, like, there's not going to be great streaming options around, that's okay. But if you want to move on and grab a streamer from the Knicks tomorrow, do it. Or the Raptors, do it. That's okay. Oubre, 38 minutes, 12 and 10. 12 points in 38 minutes is obviously a terrible return, but you love the rebounds, and the steals are great. If he's playing those minutes, that's at least interesting enough for 12s. I don't really love it long term, but it's interesting enough. And I don't think there is enough here for Jared McCain. Even though he did start the second half, McCain had 11 points in 28 minutes, and he did have 3 steals, which floats the line. I think he's streamer more than 12-teamer. Not a very good game from Paul George. He didn't take a single free throw, and he didn't hit a single 3. 12, 7, and 2, but Tyrese Maxey stepped up. Big Max had 25, 11, and 14 in 42 minutes. He actually shot the ball well, 46%. Which is not something he'd been doing very clearly. And I do think he does need Embiid there to be able to put up big numbers, and that happened, and that's where we're at. Caleb Martin's being very much deprioritized at the moment. He only played the 13 minutes. What about your mates, the Chicago Bulls? It was tough. It was a tough matchup here for Embiid going up against the NBA's best center in Nikola Vucevic, and Vuce for the second consecutive game had 13 points. He played 29 minutes here with some early foul trouble. The 4 steals are just, yep, cool. Look, getting 4 steals out of Vuce is unbelievable. You don't get that literally ever. So he did that. He shot well, but he didn't shoot at all. Like 7 attempts. And that is 2 games in a row where the usage has plummeted. And we've got to watch it. We've got to watch it, obviously. I'm too scared to say the words, just in case. But that's 13 points, 2 games in a row for Vooch. Levine had 30 points in 32 minutes with 6 triples, and his usage after being really down like 2-3 games ago has bumped way up the last 2. And Kobe White had 13 points in 37 minutes. But what we've also noticed, and it's not all about, some of it is luck and some of it is about other stuff, but there's a lot of pattern stuff in fantasy and trying to figure that stuff out. And we saw Ayo Dosunmu blow up. I put him on the bloody thumbnail of one of the videos. He had a triple-double. And then Kobe White came back and he doesn't do anything now. And this is the same thing. And there's so much chatter. And always when it's the highlight reel bias stuff, Ayo goes off, man, when the Bulls trade guys, he's going to cook. Is he? Well, he played that game with 2 guys injured. And now Patrick Williams is still out. But maybe or maybe not. Like, Ayo he's not that guy, I don't think. And you see the struggles of him being able to produce when they're sort of healthy. It's not really there. He played a lot of minutes, 35 of them, 10 points, 5 assists and 2 threes. You can absolutely roster Dosunmu, but I don't see this big star waiting to develop. What else? Alonzo Ball had 20 minutes for 3 points. There are plenty of people still waiting for him to be a 12-team league guy or holding onto him. I don't think you should do that. And Giddey had 9 points with 11 assists and 2 steals and continues to be relatively frustrating in terms of where is the actual value? What are the minutes? What do we do with you? I think at this point you hold, but yeah, it continues to be pretty frustrating, I think would be the best way of me phrasing that. Let's do the second game. It is the Milwaukee Bucks. They get over the line in the end over the Nets, 118-113. And this morning on the Waiver Wire show, I gave an impassioned discussion on why I'm not sure you should roster Bobby Portis. Because even when Giannis is out, he's playing limited minutes. And then Glenn Rivers goes, Josh, I watched the video, and I know you criticize me all the time, my guy. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Bobby Portis 31 minutes, even with Giannis and Brook Lopez playing. And then I throw my hands up in the air and go, why? What? Where? Out of nowhere. Now, I believe, knowing what Doc Rivers is as a coach and how he's been as a GM, I believe that he went, Bobby's hitting a lot of shots here, 90% shooting. Let's just play him. Hot hand, let's play him. And the numbers were great. He also blocked 3 shots. But so much of what we look at when we're trying to get performances and understand where it is like, okay, is he a 90% shooter? Of course he isn't. He didn't take a single free throw, and he played 31 minutes. This was not something that he does at all. And how did he get those minutes? Well, the shots went in, so they didn't need as much. Gary Trent, Brook Lopez stunk again. 3-3 with nothing else for Brook, who'd been bad, then good, then bad, then good, then bad, then good, then bad, then good, then bad, then bad. Like, I don't know. It's all over the place with Brook. I can't really get a read on it, but he's old, and that's going to happen, right? So I'm not looking at this as like, man, Josh, you were completely wrong on Portis. I might be. Maybe they push him back to 27 a night every night. That is entirely possible. I don't think so, but it's impossible. And I don't look at this and go, man, Brook's done. I think we could easily flip that back around. But we watch it really carefully. Yanni had 34 and 11 with 3 blocks. And Dame, 7 shot attempts. He did take 11 free throws and had 15 points, but 11 assists and bad shooting is not a good night there. And Gary Trent, he had 20 points, he had 3 threes, and not much else going on there. The 0 rebounds and 0 assists is a big Nick Young special. Chris Middleton, it is going to be a slow process, right? We know this. He played 20 minutes, he had 11 points. He did have 6 assists. He got to the line 4 times. It's going to be slow. I believe he should be on rosters. He's not a top 40 guy anymore. He's a top 70 guy when he gets to 30. If he gets to 30. But he should be on a roster. And then Taurean Prince, that's part of the reason that Bob Portis was able to play it a bit more, is that Prince only played 18 minutes here. And he'd been getting a lot of those backup power forward minutes. On the Brooklyn side, it's just so hard with this team to try and figure out anything about it, to be honest. They made a change to the lineup. Dorian Finney-Smith returned, and that meant Jalen Wilson went to the bench. They kept Keon Johnson as the starting 2-guard, and we've had this idea, this pattern, this understanding with this team is that with Cam Thomas out, it's just going to be a rotating cast of dickheads. That, yeah, and I say dickheads and maybe that's probably an Australian thing. Like, that is an endearing term. I'm not saying that they're terrible people. I'm just saying, yeah, just these dickheads. All right, that's what I mean, because it's Keon Johnson or Shake Milton or Trenton Watford or Jalen Wilson or Zaire Williams or anyone. There's a million different blokes they chuck in there, and they kept Keon in there, and guess what? He had 6 points in 21 minutes. And Milton, who'd played, I think, 30 in one of the last 2 games, played 16 and had 6 points. And Ben Simmons had been playing 25 a night, and instead he played 18 here. And Jalen Wilson had 3 points in 26 minutes. It's just all a mess, and you don't roster anybody outside of Claxton, Schroeder, Johnson. Maybe you look at Finney-Smith, and then Simmons was there, but I don't know. Finney-Smith had 9 points with 3 threes, and Johnson, Cam that is, had 26. I would always be looking to sell high on Cam Johnson. And Schroeder, nice bounce back game, 34 and 11. It was also great to finally see a good game from Claxton. 21 and 10 in 33 minutes, actually. 3 steals, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. And he hit free throws, which is not what you get, is it? He doesn't normally do that, and he did it, so that's great. And we hope this is maybe the beginning of some sort of a turnaround for Claxo, because it has been an incredibly disappointing season so far, as I'm sure you're well aware. But now maybe we get a bit of a turnaround. We have got 10 more games to cover off, so we'll do that. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Yeah, big wireless. Why do they do it? They're always trying to get you in a gotcha. Get you in a gotcha. Should that be a catchphrase for somebody? Probably not me, but that's okay, because Mint Mobile is here to tell you that when they tell you that you've got a plan at $15 a month for 3 months, that's what you're going to get. No price hikes, no overages, no confusing terminology. $15 a month for 3 months. Mint Mobile. You get fast speed, the fastest, the elite premium speeds. I'm sure that's what they call it. Elite and premium, whatever. It's something like that. The nation's largest 5G network. We know that. High-speed data, unlimited talk and text. It's all there on the Mint Mobile service. And you bring your phone along, you get to keep all your existing contacts. So easy to do. So get your new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. That is mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. $45 upfront payment required, which is equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds, they get slower a little bit, over 40 gigabytes on a limited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, that is 2 games down. The Hornets and the Pacers. This was the Isaiah Wong revenge game. And I say that jokingly, but also sort of not, because he actually played a bit for the Hornets and played okay. The Hornets did welcome back BDNR Nick Richards. He started with old mate Mark Williams resting, and not that Williams was necessarily going to start anyway, but it was Taj Gibson who started the game before this one. So let's take a look. Mark Williams was resting, like I said. No LaMelo, no Trey Mann, still no Miles Bridges. Let's start with BDNR, who had 25 minutes, 9 and 14, which is fine. It's fine. It's useful. It's okay. We just keep holding on to him until it drops. And when they make the switch where Williams starts over Richards, then curse him out. Curse? Why did I say curse? Cast away BDNR. When that happens, I wouldn't be under any illusions of Richards being a long-term 12-team guy. Would not be under that at all. But for now, hold him. And I wouldn't be under any illusions of Vasiljevic being a 12-team league guy all season. But who cares? Because now you roster him. 18 points, 4 threes, 9 assists, 2 steals. I know there were a lot of snarky people after one of the games where I said, yeah, you've got to roster him. That was after he'd already had 2 games. And he turned in a 0.18-minute game. And a lot of people got snarky. And I said, what about Vasa now? Yep, this is exactly. Yes. This is what we want. We roster him. He's very clearly the guy. And we move on later. Easy stuff. Josh Green is inconsistent. He had 10 points with 2 steals. That's enough for some leagues, but not for everyone. But with the absence of forwards, we're getting 33 minutes of Cody Martin and 20 minutes of Daquan Jeffries. Cody probably does enough to be a 12-team streamer. Daquan's like a 14-team guy. And we better talk about Brandon Miller, who played 40 minutes. He had 26, 6, and 5. People get very upset if I say something incorrect about Brandon Miller. When I said that he was doing some empty stuff. Apologies for that. He did have a block here. He had 5 assists. He's been pretty good. In fact, he's been very good. I would say that's more fair. I still do have long-term concerns about him, but whatever. He's been very good and continues to be very good. Not much else going on that side. Yeah, I should mention Isaiah Wong. He had 9, 3, and 4, and he sort of seemed to get the minutes there over KJ Simpson, so just keep an eye on that. But of course, this Hornets team's so banged up that a million things can change when players return. For the Pacers, should we start on the disappointment that is Tyrese Halliburton, because he had 9 points at home in 37 minutes. I think we've eliminated the home road split stuff. It sort of started to even now. It was a weird thing, and we tried to figure out what it was, but it sort of evened out a little bit. Halliburton is that guy now, these days, where anytime there is a bad game, it is extrapolated to mean a couple of things. A, this guy's trash, will never be good, and B, every other game that preceded this was also terrible. And that is just blatantly not true. Yes, having 9 points in 37 minutes on 40% shooting is bad. It's bad. It's not very good. He did have 8 assists and 3 blocks, so helped. But these people who are, and maybe it's you, and if it is you, I apologize, but also listen very carefully. Yeah, it hasn't been a good year, but 23, 4 and 8 with 2 steals was the game before. 17, 3 and 8 with 2 steals and 2 blocks was the game before. 30 and 4 with 6 assists and 4 threes was the game before that. There was an 8, 2 and 7 in there, which everyone jumped on again. And the game before that, 19, 1 and 5, 28, 7 and 10, 34, 3 and 13, 21, 4 and 9, 18, 1 and 9. Like, they're all pretty bloody good. There's like 2 bad games out of the last 12 games, 10 games. So I know it was a bad start from Haliburton this season. It was. Over his last 8 games, he's averaging 21, 3 and 8 with 1.4 steals, shooting 50% from the field and 39% from 3. And yeah, the 70% from 2 is going to come down. He's not going to hold at that level. But like he's still off where he was last season, where he averaged 20 and 11. But those last 8 games, he's at 21 and 8. So it's just the assists that have dried up. And that's probably more my concern at the moment, because I think the shooting might be all right. But we've got this idea, or some of us have this idea in our heads, that every game is just terrible. Whenever he has a bad one, every game is terrible. When, like, it's 2 out of the last 10 or 11 that have been bad. And I think that sort of... No, you can think whatever you want. I don't care if you want to rage, if you want to do whatever you want about Haliburton and how bad you do whatever you want. But the major point I want to make is that if you've got that idea and you actually think that's what happened, you might be in a mood of doing that, and then you make a terrible trade that gives him away for nothing. Because that's how you believe it's been, when it hasn't. Siakam was bad, though. 9 points with 11 rebounds and 2 steals. He's been solid-ish, except it has been a decline for him in the last couple of games. So I'd look for him to bounce back. I'm not that worried. Timothy John, 26 minutes, 30 points. McConnell had 6 assists, 2 steals and 2 blocks and shot 74%. He also took 19 shots, which is far too many for TJ McConnell. But with guys out, Neesmith and Shepherd, you roll with McConnell as a 12-team guy. Categories more than points, but that's a good points league game as well. Andy Dampard played 31 minutes. I guess his restriction is over. And he's mid. I think he's just mid. 10, 4 and 3, and to me, he's not a 12-teamer. And speaking of mid, Benedict Mathurin. 34 minutes, 11 points. 3 rebounds, 36%. Now, Mathurin has had an unquestionably very impressive start to this season. But what if, just hear me out, what if his first 2 seasons where he wasn't very good is actually who he is, and he just was on a hot streak for 20 games here? I don't know that that's the case. Maybe he has actually improved, but the last 4 games or so, around that, maybe I'm doing a Haliburton here. The last few games have not been as good for Haliburton, off of Mathurin, sorry, and yeah, like he's 152nd over the last 2 weeks and 182nd over the last 5 games, playing 34 minutes a night, which is honestly horrible for a category league performer. So I'm not saying that we drop Benedict Mathurin at all, but I'm saying maybe the beginning of the season was the hot streak and maybe he's not that good. Possibly. A little bit of foul trouble for Miles Turner, played 21 minutes there, and that gave us 23 Obert Toppin minutes, and we got 20 minutes from Jarris Walker, who also hit his shots at 86%. I don't think we need to read into too much with Toppin or with Walker, or with those low minutes from Miles Turner, honestly. I don't think we need to be too concerned overall with that one. Okay, let's go on to the next game here. We're going to talk out, which one is this? Oh, it is this one, the big one. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Miami Heat. Big win for Miami here, 122-113. Obviously, Cleveland's been awesome all season. But early in this game, they lose Evan Mobley, which is bad because he is arguably, you can argue it with me, and I'm not even sure which way I feel about it, but is he their best / most important player? It's probably still Mitchell. But Mobley played 12 minutes, sprained his ankle. 2 years ago, Mobley played all 82 games. Last season, he had a significant ankle sprain and missed a bunch of time. I don't know whether it's the same injury again. I don't know. But we've got to be a little worried. So, I'd love to have gotten an update, but I don't have it yet. They got cooked in this one as well, Cleveland, until the end where they started to come back. What we need to take out of it is we got Dean Wade starting, only the first half, but he played 29 minutes, 11 and 8 with 3 threes. That's nice for deeper leagues. We had Karis LeVert take over in the second half, starting in place of Wade. He had 13, 2 and 4, and you know the LeVert story. If you get him, just hold for a period of time. There's going to be good ones, there's going to be bad ones. And if you try to chase the Karis LeVert good and drop on the bad, you're going to just get it wrong. What is interesting is that George Niang, the minivan, played 31 minutes, 15 points and 6 rebounds with 3 threes, and that was because Mobley was out. But he took 7 shots. He hit 71%. And if he doesn't do that, let's say instead of going 5 of 7, he goes 4 of 7 or 3 of 7. Then you're talking about like 9 points, 2 threes, 6 rebounds, and you go, in 31 minutes, bro, what are you doing? It's not good. So I wouldn't rush to add him even if Mobley is out. He moves into at least a higher level of streaming, but that's it. Stinker also from Jarrett Allen. He has had some struggles. I think earlier this season, I think he was like 10th or 12th for a period of time, and he's cooled off significantly now. It looks really bad. I do think that if Mobley is out, you're going to see him move up in the rankings quite a bit. So don't be too discouraged by that performance. On to the Miami side of this game. Hero. He just continues, man. 36 minutes, 34, 6 and 7 with 5 threes. 53%. He is shooting. Now, there is a lot that he has done. There's a lot that he has done and changed in terms of shot distribution, which is always important. We like to see those changes. His three-point attempt rate, if I go and have a look at it, 57% versus 45% last season. So he's just taking more threes. The thing that's also really important there is he's hitting them now at 42% versus 37%. He's also hitting his twos at 55 versus 52. That is impressive. And part of the reason he's hitting his twos, I believe, at that increased rate is he's just taking less of the bad ones. Less of the mid-range shots. Because as we know, the hardest shot to make, and make useful is a mid-ranger, especially a long mid-ranger. Because the likelihood of that going in is about the same as a 3, but you get 33% fewer points, which is very clearly not ideal. So if I have a look actually at his shooting splits, his mid-range attempts are outrageously down. From 7.6 a game to 3.4 per 75 possessions. He's cut it in half. And when you cut that in half, well, your 2-point shooting percentage will rise. And he's also, he's making up for that by instead of being a 42, 45% mid-range guy, he's at 54. So that is going to fall. He's not going to shoot at that level. But it's just some really, really impressive stuff from Tyler Hero this season. Duncan Robinson was great. 28 minutes, 23 points with 4 threes. Not a lot else. And we can't really rely upon the usage or the minutes because Spoelstra adjusts it every time. But as a points and 3 streamer, it's at least there. I think we're very comfortable in jacking off Jaime Jaquez Jr. Get that garbage out of here. You could have hacked him off weeks ago, but there's still people holding him, and for the love of God, I don't know why. He had 4 points in 16 minutes. The first guy off the bench with the guards' wings was Drew Smith, who is somehow getting minutes with Pale Larson out. Drew Smith had 11 and 4 with 3 threes. In deeper leagues, you need to pay attention there. We also need to pay attention that Terry Rozier played 28 minutes. Was he particularly good? No, he was all right. 14 and 9 with 2 threes. Does that make me rush to grab him? It doesn't, no. Does it make me rush to drop him? It will give me pause. If I had him, I go, that's not bad. But overall, I do think that if he's on the wire, it's okay. And if I dropped him, I would have been going, man, what did I do? That's a terrible decision. Maybe it ends up that way, but at the moment, I don't feel that. Jim had 18 points with 3 rebounds, 50% shooting. The disappointing season continues from Butler. And we knew it was coming. We knew that there would be random games where Haywood Highsmith would just get slashed. He had 0 points in 24 minutes. He didn't have a defensive stat. And that's what I get for saying, hey, maybe Haywood Highsmith is someone you can take a look at because he gets defensive stats. And maybe Spoelstra's leaning into it a little bit more. Maybe. And then, of course, we get this. Of course we do. All right. We're going to come back and look at some of the other games. Of course, we'll look at all of the games. That's what we're going to do. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. You can get ready and tackle all of the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now on FanDuel, you place a $5 bet, your first one. You win your first $5 bet, and they'll just chuck a lazy $150 in bonus bets straight into your account. When you're live betting the NFL, you open up the FanDuel app and you'll see the odds there. That's easy. They're changing all the time and you're changing your thoughts. Like I said many times, you're beautiful minding this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to move this. Yeah. And as you're doing it, you got all the numbers in front of you. All the stats is in the same spot where you place your bet. Live, updating. All the game by game, play by play. It's there in that same spot as well. So when you're looking to live bet the NFL, FanDuel's going to be your only choice. Go to FanDuel.com right now. Sign up and get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel, never miss a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay. We'll swing it over to the next game here. We're talking about, which one's this one? Oh, it's the Denver Nuggets and an absolute annihilation from Big Chungus Nikola Jokic onto the Atlanta Hawks. Aaron Gordon was back. That meant that Peyton Watson moved to the bench. They just cooked him, though. 141-111. We'll talk about why that happened on the Atlanta side in a minute, but yeah, Jalen Johnson didn't play. But what about Jokic, man? 48, 14 and 8, 3 steals and 3 threes and 59% shooting and 85 from the line. He has taken his game to not only another level, but it feels like 2 levels higher. And this is a man that's won has he won 3 MVPs? 3 out of the last 4? I think that's right. 3 out of the last 4 MVPs. And he's better again. At the moment, there is no one really close to him in terms of MVP, I don't think. The thing that I would say is that, yes, and you can go back and check any of my videos, I said that I would take Victor Wembanyama close to Jokic. I would take Wemby in number 1 in drafts. But if I had 5 number 1 picks, I'd do 3 Wemby and 2 Jokic. That's what I said. And I said, I don't think there's really a wrong answer in that. At the moment, it's very clearly Jokic is the number 1 player. Very clearly. The thing I think that we have to look into this is that nobody in their right mind thought that Jokic would be playing 39 minutes a night and having to play 38 minutes a night because the rest of the team has been so bad. That never made any sense that would be what they were done. They've never done that in the past. So that was an incorrect analysis by me and I think by everybody. But whatever. If they get it, I got that wrong. I didn't think Jokic would be playing 38 a night. And he's actually not, well, maybe he's not exactly playing 38 a night, but there's been too many instances of him playing 39 a night, 38 a night. He's also just doing so much usage-wise, which is also never been his thing. He has never been this player before. And while he has always been he's been the best fantasy player for a very long time. We know this. Jokic is doing stuff that's not even remotely close to previous years. Actually, I was right. 38 a night he is playing. 38 a night. Jokic's usage last season was 29. 29. This season, it's 32. Over the last 7 games, it's 36. So, everything that Jokic is doing at the moment, for as much as I love the man, and I do, and he's shooting 51% from 3, all right, this is the biggest sell high of all time, except, what do you trade? You can't trade it for anything. Everything about what Jokic is doing has 0 shot of holding. And I know you'll say he can. He cannot. He will not be a 51% 3-point shooter. I don't think that he will last being a 38-minute-a-night guy running at 36 usage. I don't think that will last. Either through injury or something else, slowing down. But in the grand context of this, all you can do is whip out the Turkish script and be happy with it. Because you can't sell him off for anyone. I made a joke on Basketball Monster today in the comments saying, yeah, sell him high. If there's someone in your league that's got the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th best player, then maybe I'd consider it. And that's like a joke, but that's it. So it's the biggest sell high I've ever seen, except it's literally a sell high that doesn't exist and it's impossible and would never happen because there is nobody better. And I hope all of those multiple thoughts there at once make sense and try to illustrate how ridiculous what he is that he's doing and how ridiculous and those things are going to fall, but it doesn't actually matter. It just doesn't matter. It's the same. He's going to be awesome. We were getting a lot of downturn in Christian Braun. Downtown Christian Braun. Should we call him that? Probably not. 17, 8 and 4, 2 steals and a block with 2 threes. And yeah, he had not been good. But this is good. And that's encouraging. We just wanted to keep watching it. Was those first 10 fluky and now he's sort of dropped off? And he did. But this is good. This is encouraging. It's back on track. The poop cookie Michael Porter had 26 and 7 and his last game was down and this is good. And Aaron Gordon only played the 23 minutes. No need for him to play. Why would you when you're getting cooked like that or the Hawks are getting cooked like that? He had 6 and 2 on some really bad shooting. Yes, want to roster him in most cases. What I'd pay attention to though, with no Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook started. I don't want to pay attention to him because I know what we're going to get. You get some 11 assists is great and 2 steals is great, but you know the risks in that with Westbrook. With 30 minutes, it's usually enough to overcome it. But Julian Strauler's had 2 good games in a row. 22 minutes for Strauler, 13 points and 3 threes. And even in this one, Jalen Pickett got 17 minutes. I'm not even suggesting we need to add, definitely not Pickett, but Strauler. But that is 2 good ones in a row and sort of filling some of that Murray role. We just keep a little bit of an eye on that just to see exactly where it goes. It's probably nowhere, but it's been a nice little turnaround. The Atlanta side, Larry Nance had not played a game, I think, 3 weeks. He started with Jalen Johnson out. There was also no Bogdan Bogdanovic here. As for Nance, 16, 4 and 3, 2 threes, 2 steals, 24 minutes. Cool. I don't think it means anything. And I'll tell you what I think is also happening a little bit around this time. You're going to see multiple weird injuries and absences, all of that sort of stuff, right? Are we getting breaking news here that Juan Soto signed with the Mets? I think I'm seeing it. There you go. Juan Soto goes to the Mets. Interesting. It looks like that's happening. I'm going to double check. Yep, it was. There you go. Juan Soto to the Mets. Grimace, Hoctua, it all worked. There you go. What I think is happening a little bit at this time of the year is we know that there are 8 games in the next 4 days. There are teams that could be thinking, hey, I need to prepare for our knockout NBA Cup game. Or there are teams that go, it's a really good chance to get an extended break here without missing many games and see if we can get our guys healthy. And I would not be shocked if that is what happened with Jalen Johnson. Yeah, he did. He copped a hit for sure last game, right? That happened. But they've got an NBA Cup game coming up, and I think he'll be okay. But that's conjecture. I don't know. Trae Young, 15 points only, another really weird low usage game, but 10 assists and 3 steals is really good. And Dyson Daniels had 18, 4, and 6 with 5 steals. Anyone heard of a guy called DeAndre Hunter? He had 20 points. He shot 20 times for some reason. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 steals, and 0 blocks. This is the sort of player that I absolutely despise watching. Actually, that's not true. I don't like watching the Cam Thomases more. But this guy that acts like he is an elite scorer when he is not, and then doesn't really do anything else, like, what are you doing out there? I don't get it. And I know that he's had some fantasy value, and people have been frothing this guy this season. Long term, I don't think there's any real sustainability in what he's doing. But 20 points is 20 points. 35% is also 35%, as are 3 rebounds. But you know what? That is, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. They changed starting center at halftime. And no, I don't think that means anything regarding Onyeka Okongwu long term. Capella had 19 minutes. He had some foul trouble. He had 9 and 10, whereas Okongwu had 25 minutes for 14 and 9. But Capella had some foul trouble. Jokic was cooking, so they just mixed things up. I honestly don't think this is the indicator that now that's what they do moving forward. If you believe it, it happens. So, go and add Okongwu if that's what you think. I don't think that is it. I think they will be, unfortunately, back to Capella next game and minutes split with unpredictability in who plays each game or how the minutes go. I think we'll be at the exact same spot. It's no harm to add Okongwu. It's no harm to not. I think it remains the same. Bufkin out of the rotation again. Vic Krejci ahead of him, while Ricochet, no Johnson, no Bogdanovic. He played more minutes and had 10 points in 27%, and he is still being rostered. According to our advanced metric, 46% of 12-team leagues, somebody is rostering Zach Ricochet. And my question to you would be, if you got problems in your life in other areas, lose your vision at any stage, what are we doing?
Get that garbage out of here.
He's been bad. He had one good game. I think one good game he had. And I'm not even precluding that he's going to end up being a solid enough player. But bros, girls, Sheilas, guys, blokes, fellas, get rid of him. Why are you holding him? There's absolutely no reason in any standard 12-team league, or honestly, in a 14-team league, to be holding on to him. None whatsoever. All right, let's get on to this next game. The Phoenix Suns. How do you choke this game away against the Orlando Magic? I really want to sing the whole song, but maybe we'll save it when we talk about the Magic side. 115-110, the Magic win it at home. No KD, no Nurkic, obviously. I don't think they'll be back this week. That was the report from John Gabadaro. We'll find out. Devin Booker, 25-4-7 with 4 steals, and Brad Beal had 18-4-2 with 2 blocks. Good games, apart from the shooting from Booker. What we want to know is the peripheral guys. Remember when Durant hurt his calf and Royce O'Neal was shocking, terrible? Well, he's actually been good now. 16-7 with 4 threes, and if you want to stream him in for the Suns game later this week, do it. Same with Grayson Allen, who had 13-4 with 2 threes in only 22 minutes, which is a little bit of a concern. I don't think that lasts after Durant is back, but for now, you can try it. Tyus Jones had 21 points, which is huge output. 16 shot attempts for Tyus is crazy. He had 6 assists as well with no defense. And then Plumlee getting his standard 26 minutes and getting 4 blocks out of the cockroach is unbelievable. You don't get that very often at all. 7 and 6 with him, and while Nurkic is out, he appears to be useful enough as a streamer ahead of Osa Ighodaro, who had 4, 5, and 4. 5 minutes for the other member of the Big Four, Bol Bol. He had 2 points in that playing time and not really much else going on there, I don't think. Monte Morris had 4 in his 14 minutes. On to the Magic, which is where there is a lot of intrigue, obviously, because the first game here without Franz Wagner. And, well, what do we make out here? Tristan da Silva started. That was the expectation. He started. The expectation also was that he wouldn't be good, and that was also true. 8-5 with 1-3. So we thought about that. We thought maybe he would get that opportunity, and he wouldn't be good. And true, he wasn't. Well, the thing that I pushed a lot, and we can argue whether it's correct or not, is that they needed somebody to generate a shot. They needed somebody to score. And the only guy who had any real resume of doing that was Cole Anthony. Now, Cole Anthony did not start, but Cole Anthony played 29 minutes. He had 14, 2, and 3. He had a steal, he had 2 blocks, and he had a usage of 25%. It was a plus 17. So, they play a game against the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Cup. I think you add Cole Anthony. They just need a shot creator. They need somebody to generate shots. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 8 points on 6 shots. He didn't generate any. Tristan da Silva had 7 shots. He can't generate any. Mr. Black played 26 minutes and had 8 shots for 8 points. He had a steal and 2 blocks. They just did the same shit that they always do because they don't have that ability to fill that particular role. You can think that Black is better than Anthony. Totally cool. You can think that. You can think that KCP is a better player than Cole Anthony. Absolutely, totally okay to think that. But it's about, realistically, what the hell you need. If you have everyone standing around going, well, we're just going to sort of stand there and then play defense, it doesn't work. And this may not be the thing that happens every game. But when you get an idea, this is how I act anyway. If I get an idea and go, they need shot creation. Maybe it is Cole Anthony. And then that happens. And he has the second most shots on the team. And he has a high usage. And they're good in those minutes. And he scores well. I go, okay, that actually all makes complete sense. So, I would add him. And then we see where it goes. Also, what a game from the big fella, Goga Bitadze. 21 and 16 in 31 minutes. He also ramped up his usage and somehow was 5 of 6 from the line as well. I'm not fully convinced that Goga Bitadze is going to be a 31-minute-a-night player with a 26 usage. I don't think that's really true at all. But when you're going up against Mason Plumlee, yeah, pretty good shot. And one of the other fallouts of the Franz Wagner deal was that when Paolo comes back, it doesn't really impact Goga here because Goga's still going to be used and they're still going to need him. So, this is extending the Goga Bitadze runway. No idea what happens when Wagner and Paolo play together. None at all. We know what's happened in the past. Goga doesn't play. But we're so far away from that it doesn't matter. Bad game from Wendell Carter. I would probably try to hold. But also, if you don't want to, who cares? I don't think it's going to break the bank. 6-5 in 21 minutes. While also very hard, and a lot of people thought this might happen too, that Mo Wagner would get more minutes with his brother out. But it'd be very hard to be able to get Wendell and Mo and Goga all out there together. So Mo Wagner played 17 minutes and had 10 points. He had 2 steals and a block. Now Mo is going to get usage. We know that. His usage will be pretty solid. I'm guessing 26 here. And that's useful. But getting a big boost in minutes is going to be tough. So I would say the winner here is deeper leagues. It's Jet Howard, who had 6 points with 2 steals. But it's Cole Anthony. And I think that's probably worth a 12-team look, honestly. And deeper leagues, Caleb Houston played, but like he's a low usage shit kicker as well. Like not much that we need to be overly concerned about with him, I don't think. Let's go on to the next one here. The Memphis Grizzlies. They get a very easy victory over the Washington Wizards, and that was with a late or sort of out of nowhere back soreness injury for Ja Morant and a toe issue for Desmond Bane, which, like I said earlier, feels like that, hey, we're playing the Wizards. We've got a lot of time off here. Maybe we just don't. Maybe just sort of rest up the little things that are bothering you. And I think that's almost exactly what happened. I'm not going to overreact to this about Morant and Bane. What am I going to overreact to, though? How is Santi Aldama doing this? 20 minutes. Under 20 minutes. 19 points. 64%. 3 blocks. 5 assists. Maybe he's just him now. I am way more comfortable saying that I just got it way wrong on Aldama than he is actually. He's not this shooter. No way is this shooter. But the passing increase, it looks real. Maybe I'm just way wrong. I'm more wrong on him than I think I will be on Vucevic, to be honest. even though I think both their shooting has got to fall, that he's doing different things here now that he didn't do it all last season, Santiago Dama. So I think maybe I'm wrong on that. If you want to hold him, because he just keeps doing it somehow. Scottie Pippen showed exactly, again, why we like him. 14, 3, and 12 with 2 steals, but when Morant plays, there's no point in having him. They also started Marcus Smart, who had 13 and 3 in 21 minutes, but honestly, again, this is a very weird game. They won by 30 points, so minutes are down all over the shop. We got 25 minutes from a bloke, and I know who he is, but you might not, Cam Spencer. Go and double-check ESPN. Is he available? I'm pretty sure he will be. That's Pat Spencer's brother, by the way. He had 51 in the G League the other day, Cam. 14, 4, and 5. He had 25 minutes. An interesting player. But, of course, no Morant, no Bane, no Edey, no Williams, no Kennard, no GG. Now, a few of those guys aren't coming back for a while. But with no Morant and no Bane, you're just going to get wackiness all over. And we did. We also only got 17 Jaren Jackson minutes because, again, game was over early. So, nice enough from Brandon Clark, 12 and 7 with 2 steals. He's probably a 12-team guy. Probably. 17 points for Jay Huff. But this game, the box score, it doesn't mean anything. It's fake. I mean, it's real. It obviously happened, but it's fake in that the game was over so early and they just said, screw it. We actually don't need to try that hard because we're going to win anyway. Because somehow this Wizards team beat Denver yesterday and then got cooked here. Now, they ran out the same starting lineup again, and that was with our mate, Bubbles. And what do you know it? Justin Champagny, the Lambrusco, he was good again. 34 minutes for Justin, 14 and 8, and 5 steals. Remembering that Kuzma, Sarr, Brogdon, Kispert, George were all out. And that obviously opens up a lot of shots and a lot of minutes. So I don't think that I would rush to add Justin Champagny. I know that he was the second most added player on Yahoo this morning. These are good games, but I don't think I'd care. Marvin Bagley also had 20 and 7 in 25 minutes with 3 blocks. That is honestly one of the best Bagley games you will ever get. But Sarr, Kuzma, Brogdon, Kispert, George, that's a lot of minutes that are going to push all those guys out of there. Bilal, some shots actually went in for the big fella. 28 minutes, 17, 5, and 4, 1-1. But again, how much do we care given who was out? It's not minutes haven't been the issue for him. It's confidence. At least some of those shots went in, so that's encouraging. Valanciunas, 20 and 14 in 23 minutes. There are some people who actually still think that Valanciunas is an awesome player. And I've heard of people, and I don't know why this keeps happening. People go, man, can't wait till Capella gets traded to the Lakers or Valanciunas goes to the Lakers. That'll be great. People actually think that AD is going to play full-time at the 4. I don't get it. Anyway, Valanciunas is just doing enough to be a 12-team league guy in limited minutes. But again, what do I make of this? Also, shout out to Jordan Poole, 9 points. He also took 6 shots, and after yesterday's game, I don't like to get inside other men's heads. Diggity. Because it's a fool's errand. I don't know what someone's feeling, but there was a lot of stuff, obviously, that happened with Jordan Poole through the punch in Golden State, a lot of mental stuff with criticism all the way through, right? There's been pretty obvious, I think. Yesterday after the game where he cooked, there was a question asked him about, hey, are you ready to be the man here to take the keys to lead the team, be that guy, which seems like a subtle shot at Kuzma. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Just give me the thing. Let me run the show. I'm going to do it. That was yesterday. So what happened here? He took 6 shots. He had a usage of 12%. He was a minus 28. That is a very, very weird outcome. And should I just throw out like a random hypothetical? Did Kuzma come in and say, who do you think you are? You're never running the show here? And he went, I'll show you not running the show. Because nothing makes sense there. He was unbelievably good yesterday. And now he just stands around and doesn't even touch it? Why? What happened? I don't get it. Very frustrating. Bob Carrington had 7 points on 25%. And while Brogdon is out, the minutes are up. But he's giving rookie point guard. And that is not a must-roster player. It's not. So, if you want him, I mean, sure. But it's really tough sledding at the moment, I think. Well, not I think, I know. The next one. What is going on here? The New Orleans Pelicans. How do you lose this one against the Spurs? 116-121 the final score. The Pelicans, Brandon Ingram out, long-term, big ankle sprain, long-term absence coming up. So what did they do when we were trying to work out who the replacements were going to be? And we said that they'd just start Trey Murphy in his place, and that is exactly what happened. Murphy played 38 minutes, had 25, 6 and 5, 4 threes, 1 steal, 1 block. Don't tell anybody, but I think Trey Murphy's a better player than Brandon Ingram. And just in case he's sitting on a waiver wire, and I'm sure he isn't, but just in case, make sure he is rostered. We also got more minutes out of Yves Missi, and we saw that with Murphy and Ingram both there, it was hard for Missi to do enough. But now, 32 minutes, 18, 14, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Fantastic game. Should be rostered while Ingram is out? Absolutely. DeJounte had 18, 6, and 11. And, yeah, I'd say he's been pretty disappointing. But we're still going with him, obviously. CJ had 19 points, and Herb Jones went back to being a little bit more Herb Jonesy. 12, 3 and 1, 2 steals and a block, but obviously a must-roster player. But the thing is, a lot of people were very interested in, like, hey, we're going to add BJ Boston. And I didn't really think it was going to be worth it. But honestly, if you did, you got it right for today. 17 points in 28 minutes for BJ. He had 3 rebounds and an assist. Now, to get there, he had to shoot 64%. And I'm pretty sure if you go and look up his shooting numbers for the year, he's at about 38. So I would say that that's possibly a little bit unsustainable. Hawkins, Zion, Alvarado, and Ingram all still need to come back. One of those guys who's close is Hawkins. So I guess you could find a 25-minute a night role here for BJ Boston, but I'm not sure that's worth it in 12-team leagues. On the back of this, you'd say, sure, it is. But also, again, look into the details. Because the only reason this looks good is because he shot 64%. And if he shoots 38%, which would be, what did he attempt? 11 shots. So let's say he goes 5 of 11, which is, again, not good. It's not terrible. He was 7 of 11. Let's say 4 of 11. He was 7 of 11. That's 3 shots less. Let's say 7 points. One of them's a 3. Then you're at 10, 3, and 1 with 2 threes, and you go, let's leave it alone. So, I say all that to say I did not think that Boston would be a real good option for 12-team leagues. He was today. I think it's a little smoke and mirrory based on that high shooting, which is not anything he's shown he's got an ability to do. So I'd be hesitant about adding, but I also was hesitant about adding him today, and he was good. So, view that how you will. Victor Wembanyama played only 26 minutes for the San Antonio Spurs. As I bring up the Spurs box score, don't worry, I'm not making a mistake. Because he had an early trip to the locker room with the back. But he came back. He had 25 and 10. He hit the shot, I believe, to put them in front at the end for the final time. He had 3 blocks. He had 3 threes. It's lost in what Jokic is doing that he's still the number 2 player this season. But there's also always a lot of criticism about him. And you're ready for a bit of a thought, bit of a longer debate here on Wemby, which you can give your thoughts on it if you so choose. But why is this man who is 7'4", why is he taking threes? Why is he pulling up at the logo? Post up, my guy. Pick and roll. Dunk it. And here's my thought on it. And here's why I agree with what the Spurs are doing. A lot of things the Spurs have done I haven't agreed with, like Harrison Barnes or Keldon Johnson or whatever. Or even Steph Castle, I didn't really love. I don't love his pairing with Wemby, but that's beside the point. My thing, what they think they're doing with Wemby is, you can say that that's all well and good. You're 7 foot tall, go down low, you'll put these shots in and you'll dominate. Cool. Probably true. But guess what he's always going to be able to do? That. At any point, he will be 7'4". So he can always go and do that. Is the Spurs' goal and Victor Wembanyama's goal right here at this point on, for me, the 9th of December, is the Spurs' goal to maximize every single possession for every maximal point and every single win right at the moment? And I believe the answer has to be no, it's not. The man has played not even 100 NBA games, Victor Wembanyama. He hasn't. He hasn't played 100 games. They're still trying to develop him. Because if Victor Wembanyama at 7'4" is pulling up and hitting logo threes and can be a volume shooter who then can also at any point go in there and dominate down low because he's so tall, it is the greatest player of all time. He's already the best defender in the league, I would say. Close enough to it. He's already that. But if they work and see what happens and develop this three-pointer and see if it can actually become a thing, if that actually is a thing, that is the best player of all time. You could say just stick with what works right now, which would be fine if he was 25 and you were trying to win a title, but you're not, and they're not. So if they can actually get that to work, which is what I firmly believe they are doing, it's not because he is soft, not because he is weak and doesn't want to go in there, and they're taking the easy way out, like all these kids are playing, I don't think any of that. If he can hit pull-up threes from anywhere, you are cooked against them. If that is a thing, you are done. Because what do? How do you stop it? It becomes impossible. And if it can't be a thing that happens regularly, well, they change the shot mix. That is what I think is happening. That is how I would approach it. Because the flashes are there. And if it works, you don't need to settle for, this is good, let's do it. Anything can happen with this guy. Hey, you know what? If you don't agree with that, that's okay too. Steph Castle was pretty good in this game. 22 points, 34 minutes, 4 assists, shot really well. That hasn't always been the case for him, clearly. Now, he's had an extended 30-minute role for a long time and hasn't been a top 150 player, and therefore I don't think he's a 12-team league guy. But you might, and that's okay. I don't think that he's a must in that scenario. What is a little frustrating to me is that Jeremy Sohan came back. He played like 31 minutes in his second game. Thought he looked really good, and now he's playing 23 minutes. 7 and 5 with 2 steals and 2 blocks is still not a bad line. But it is a little frustrating that Harrison Barnes plays 32 minutes because he's Harrison Barnes. Barnesy had 16 points with 3 threes in one of his better outings. I will hold Sohan for now, but that is not encouraging. We also got 35 Julian Champagny minutes, 12 and 6. Not his best game, nor was it Devin Vassell's. So their bench has got Devin Vassell and Jeremy Sohan on it. And both of those guys I would expect to do a lot more as we move forward. Keldon Johnson also left this game after 11 minutes with a calf injury. I'm expecting he misses time. But the Sohan and Vassell are so far below what we actually think they can do in terms of playing time that, you know, Champagny's minutes or Barnes' minutes or Castle's minutes, I don't really feel super secure in what's happening there. So it just still requires us looking at more. But this team had Wemby go to the locker room, Castle go to the locker room, Johnson go to the locker room, and Zach Collins go to the locker room, all in one game. And 2 of them, Collins and Johnson, ruled out for the game. With Collins out, we got 18 Goldfinger minutes. 16-11 for Charles Bassey with 4 blocks, one of the best per-minute guys in the NBA. And if Collins is out, well, almost 16-team leagues, you'd be looking at Bassey as an option. He's that good from a fantasy production standpoint. Okay, the next game, the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves. 114 Golden State, 106 to Minnesota. We'll start with the Minnesota side of things. Pretty disappointing loss for them, obviously. 37 minutes for Ant Edwards. He had 27, 5, and 6 with 5 threes. Edwards is the 24th ranked player in Yahoo Points Leagues. He's about 18th, I think, in category leagues. So it's still quite disappointing from where he was picked. Good shooting night, though. No free throws. I don't know. There's just always something just a little bit off about what he's producing. There were some people from the last Wolves game that thought that it was a changing of the guard and that Julius Randle was going to be minimized and Naz Reid would take over. Well, Randle played 37 minutes. He had 14, 11, and 4 with 2 blocks. And that's while shooting a terrible 27%, while Reid had 10 points in 21 minutes. There are often just things that you might believe, or even I am certain that I do this as well. We're just a shred, a skerrick, a scant piece, a crumb of evidence to back your way of thinking you extrapolate to mean that it's going to happen all the time. And they are not going to just give up on Julius Randle as a starter and change things over at that wild sort of idea. Randle wasn't very good. I won't tell you that he was, but 37 minutes is 37 minutes. Conley had 12 points with 3 assists in 25. Would have liked a little bit more there. And we also got big minutes out of Jaden McDaniels, who remains a stream guy. 9 points in 36 doesn't cut it for most of you. 2 steals does, but he doesn't do a lot else. Gobert also didn't do much. 4 points with 9 rebounds and 3 blocks, which is still okay. DiVincenzo, man, what is going on with this guy? 18 minutes. 18 minutes for DiVincenzo. 18. 8 points. 2 assists. And 1 Jack Armstrong.
Get that garbage out of here.
He was outplayed by Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who got red hot, 78%. We don't have to worry too much about that in terms of shooting. He didn't do anything else. But he's had a few solid games, Alexander-Walker, and he's at least on like the 14-team stream zone. 19 with 4 triples for him. Not much else, I don't think, on that side of things for the Wolves. But where things were really interesting, well, and they shouldn't have been, honestly. They shouldn't have been interesting because we knew that Golden State was going to be trotting out the same starting lineup for the foreseeable future. Draymond Green was going to be coming off the bench behind Jonathan Kuminga for the foreseeable future. Unfortunately, that lasted one day, and Draymond Green started in this game. Kevon Looney came off the bench, but that's not all. Buddy Hield moved into the starting lineup. Gary Payton moved into the starting lineup, while Brandon Podziemski went to the bench, and Andrew Wiggins was out. So, lying legend Steve Kerr just decided that he was going to make his 15th starting lineup change. And yeah, to be fair, an injury did precipitate it. That was Wiggins. But you don't have to change 60% of your starting group every game. And we had some very, very interesting performances. Kuminga played 36 minutes. He had 20 and 7, 2 steals and 3 blocks. He was bad at shooting from the field and from the line. And I don't really know what to make of, honestly, nearly anything in this game. Because I think Wiggins' absence is significant. And I don't know whether Wiggo returns in the next game. They've got an NBA Cup game on, let's say, Tuesday against Houston. But what happens? Do they start Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond all together? I don't know. If Kuminga's available, go and add him and we see where it goes. Buddy Hield, I think he played 13 minutes last game. Oh, he did nothing. In this game, he played 35 and he had 27 points. He hit 7 threes and he had 3 steals. And we're back to him being a Hoops Hype global rating top 10 legend, maybe. He attempted 0 free throws. But we know what Buddy Hield needs to be a 12-team league guy. He needs 24 to 26 usage, 30-plus minutes. And we got 23.5 usage, 35 minutes. The question is will it hold? And I would say almost definitely not. If you wanted to try Buddy Hield, if you wanted to re-add him because he started and played these minutes, I get it. I just don't think that it sticks. Because we can go and look at the bench and we can see that Andrew Wiggins didn't play, injury. Weirdly enough, Trace Jackson-Davis, completely out of the rotation. He is still rostered in 35% of 12-team leagues according to Basketball Monster.
Get that garbage out of here!
But, Wiggins is going to come back. Is Podziemski going to be a 20-minute-a-night player for the foreseeable future? Maybe. I don't know. We're dropping Podziemski, though. 6 points, 2 threes. Get rid of him. See ya. Looney had 12 and 9 off the bench, and we had 28 Gary Payton minutes. So, once again, Curry, Draymond. We're rostering them. Wiggins, yes. Kuminga, that's a nice trend, so let's add him and see. Hield, I don't know. I don't know. We have so many years of this to say that he's not good and he doesn't do this consistently enough. But if that is the role, then that is enough. That is all you need. So if you wanted to take that chance, do it. That's what we like to do. We get out ahead of it. That's why we don't marry ourselves to our back-end players. So if you've got Podziemski, you got Jackson Davis, just using example, DiVincenzo, just move on. Who cares? Drop them. Try Hield. Try Kuminga. I have absolutely zero confidence in this being a consistent lineup or rotation. None. We could be talking this time next week, and it's completely different again. Lindy Waters is back in the mix. Pat Spencer's playing 30 minutes. It could be completely different. But we get out and we try. What else happened here? Peyton had 2 steals and 2 blocks, and cool. I really, really don't think we need to care about that too much. But just another confusing rotation change from Steve Kerr. But you know what? They won. 114-106. They win the game. So, sucks to be me, I guess. All right, let's do the next game. The Houston Rockets, a James Harden revenge game against the Clippers. Yeah, no Harden though. 117 Houston, 106 to the Clippers. And there was no Fred VanVleet either. And that meant that Amen Thompson moved into the starting lineup. And after some pretty down games, and people were questioning whether they should hold on to Amen, and understandably, because he went 9 and 6 in 26 minutes, 3 and 6 in 24 minutes, and 14 and 8 in 22 minutes. And then he played 39 minutes, had 22, 7 and 4 with a triple one and shot 64%. And yeah, we do need to hold him. It's frustrating to go from 40 minutes down to 22 minutes up to 39 minutes. And this is because VanVleet is out. But he's very, very good. He's very good. And we roster him. No Tari Eason in this one also. So we also got a wild thing mentioned. Jayshawn Tate. 11 points in 19 minutes. Ignore that. Şengün, not at his best. Very low usage game. Only 9 shots for him. 11, 10, and 6. While Jabari Smith also only took 9 shots. Because Jalen Green needed to take 20 of them. Now, to be fair to Green, he scored 31 points. So that's not bad. With 5 threes. And Dylan Brooks also somehow played 38 minutes and had 19, 7, and 5. 1 steal, 2 blocks. Brooksy's a fine stream guy, but that is about it for 12s. And Green is a guy that you roster. He's on a nice little hot streak, and I'd always be interested in selling high on Jollibee Jalen because there's going to be someone that buys into it. There's going to be someone that's all about the adobo here and wants Jalen Green. And while he's rolling, you cash in. And if you get a top 60 guy, you love it. Whether you can or not, I don't know. But you look into it. Smith was fine, 13 and 13 in his 34 minutes, but it does help that there's no Eason, nor is there any Amen Thompson pushing for minutes coming off the bench. And of course, with those guys out, we got 11 scoreless minutes from Reed Shepherd. This, I will continue to say this, I don't know if especially the haters used to come onto this channel all the way through, and they still do sometimes, to tell me about how awesome this draft class is and all that sort of stuff. It's bad. Like, these guys are not, it's bad. I'm not saying they're bad players. I think they might develop into useful rotation players, but the draft is bad. It is very bad. This is we have not seen a rookie class this bad in a long time. I still think Reed is going to be pretty okay. Pretty solid. Good player. There'll be someone who pops off at some point, but the class is bad. It's so bad, man. Reed Shepherd, without the starting point guard, plays 11 minutes and goes scoreless. And it was actually the right pick, I think, to get Reed there. Anyway. It's just, anyway, it's bad. What else on Houston? Really not much. It's about it. The Clippers side of things was interesting because while it wasn't a James Harden revenge game because he didn't play, was it a Kevin Porter revenge game against the team that cast him out like an old bowl of soup after allegations last season? Well, Porter moved straight into the starting lineup after missing a couple of games of his own. He started He started with James Harden out. Norman Powell also returned after a one-game rest, and that meant Amir Coffey moved to the bench. Let's check in on Porter, who played 37 minutes. And Houston fans will be very, very used to seeing this. 37 minutes, 19, 2, and 6 on 44% with 1 of 2 from the line. It is a stock standard Kevin Porter game. It's fine. There's a little bit of accumulation stats there. It's not bad, but he's going to kill your percentages. He's going to dominate the ball, and you're going to be bad when he plays. So, I mean, cool. It's a one-game thing for Harden. I wouldn't be too worried, and it ties back into the earlier point of I just think a lot of teams might use this as an extended break. We also got 28 minutes out of the big stiffy, Bones Highland. And when I was talking to your missus the other day, she said, I wish I could get 28 minutes out of the big stiffy. 22, 3, and 4 with 5 threes. He shot really well. Cool. Do I care? I'm not even in the slightest. This is the third string point guard on this team, and he played here and played well and played the last game with Porter out, but I don't care. He is not going to play most nights, so this is great. We salute the big stiff, and then we're done. Zubats had 21 and 12 with 2 blocks, and that's good after he'd had a couple of quiet games, and Chris Dunn did the Chris Dunn thing. He got 5 steals, and that's how you treat him. He is a steals streamer. Storm and Norman, you'll be shocked to know that the shooting was not able to maintain at the elite level that it's been at, and that is going to cause problems at some point in a huge way. 28% shooting for 17 points. Look, the numbers are still fine. 4 assists and 2 steals, but just, you've got to be wary of it. And we also got 32 Jordan Miller minutes. Now, of course, there's no Harden, there's no Kawhi, there's no Man. There was no Bumba. There was no... Coffey was injured in this game, a late scratch. And then Derek Jones was out at halftime. But Miller is showing enough that I believe he needs a regular rotation role, and he's going to get it with Terrence Mann out. And the old Jordan Miller one, that's a double Onyx. That's a double Onyx, diamond, titanium, platinum move. It's not for you tacos. It's not for all us tacos out there. We probably don't need to look at Jordan Miller that much. But for all the double Onyxes out there, the diamond, titanium legends, he's doing enough. He's an interesting. He's a bit of an older second year player, Jordan Miller. He's interesting enough. They're obviously banged up. He's just a name to watch. And obviously in those leagues, I think he's actually worth grabbing for the short term, and he has been sort of worth grabbing for a little bit of time here. Should we do the next one? I honestly, what am I going to tell you about the next game? It is the Utah Jazz and the Sacramento Kings. It's almost a 50-point win. 44 points, in fact, to the Kings, 141-97. I'll start with the good. Keontae George is a top 80 player over the last 2 weeks. He had 25, 5, and 7 with 3 steals on 57% shooting. Now, it was an outrageously bad start to the season for Keontae. Outrageously bad. He was terrible. But, the general rule that I like to place on these things. Point guard who's getting good minutes with high usage. Let's stick with them. They're not easy to find. And we got it. And has he turned it around permanently? I've got no idea. I don't know. But I know that things look better, and that's enough for me. That's enough. Now, you are going to go and you are going to see Keontae George, and you're going to look at him, and you'll see that, and you'll see that he's ranked the 216th best player this season. You go, that's useless, Josh. There's absolutely no reason that is a 10, 12, 14, or 16 team rosterable player. But it's not. 216th is bad. And I'll posit it this way too. Again, it might be the new sign tapper versus you got to tell me that DeLon Wright is better than Giannis by 60 spots. Because the following players are ranked higher than Keontae George this season. Harrison Barnes. I just thought to start you off slowly. This is per game. JT Thor. JT Thor's averaged 5 minutes a game. He has 6 points. But whatever. That's 100% shooting. Isaiah Joe. Aaron Nesmith. Who else? Alfred Payton. Aaron Wiggins. Cameron Payne. Day'Ron Sharp. Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Sam Hauser. Luke Cornett. All these guys are ranked higher than Keontae George this season. Oscar Tshiebwe in his 16 minutes a game. Does that sound right to you? Would you prefer any of those players over him? Dylan Brooks. Would you prefer them? Javonte Green? The answer is no, obviously. The answer is obviously no. So be always understanding that the way that a traditional standard straight 9-cat ranking works is for a 9-cat roto league, and even then, it's a little flawed. It's based on some stuff that is quite flawed, and that is why I work absolutely tirelessly to try and fix it. So when I say that he's the 80th ranked player over the last 2 weeks, it's using the rankings that I use. It's using the setup that I use because I think it better reflects actual head-to-head category league value. Not one that would tell me that Oscar Tshiebwe is a better per-game player than Keontae George. Because it's just blatantly false. There's not a single person in the world, even Oscar Tshiebwe's mum, wouldn't say that. No one would. But yeah. So just always be very cautious about where you're getting your info, how you're interpreting that info. It's very easy for anybody to write an article, do a video, talk casually, and reference a ranking. And say, well, Keontae is actually the 219th ranked player, so that wouldn't suggest that you'd roster him. Okay. Cool. Yep. Be very, very cautious with it. What about some of the other stuff? John Collins played 23 minutes. You go, well, that's because of a blowout. And it is. You're right. But we have to also remember week 1, week 2, he was just playing 23 minutes a night anyway. That was when Taylor Hendricks was healthy. So he still was very good, John Collins, and I've been unbelievably wrong about him this season. 19-7 with 5 threes. He's continued to be good. I still worry that there's going to be a weird portion in the season where they just say, no, not anymore, John, see ya. And I avoided Larry Markkinen, and I was vocal about it in every head-to-head league. I said, I am not drafting him in the first 2, 3, probably 4 rounds because I do not believe that he is playing in the fantasy playoffs. Not because I thought he'd be bad, but he is now, apparently. What is this? Is his back cooked? 8 points on 22%? 4 assists? What is this shit? Maybe his back is rooted. He is really quite bad at the moment, Larry Markkinen. And I would want, if I had him, I would be trying to trade for any top 50 guy, but you cannot get that at the moment at all. So I think you might be stuck, honestly. It's really quite bad. I also have no idea what to do with Colin Sexton. 23 minutes for 15 points. Cool. All right. Some games you play 39, some you play 22, some you play 27. You're still probably rostering him, but I don't know. I do not understand this team. Kyle Filipowski returned. He played under 10 minutes. I think there will be a period where he's useful, but that's not the period we're at now. And I continued to be... Markkinen returned this game, by the way. Sfimo Hailuk started last one and then came in this one, played 11 minutes for scoreless, missed all 5 of his shots. Things are really, really smelly with the Utah Jazz men at the moment. On the other side of things, again, it's hard for me to tell you a huge amount about the Sacramento Kings because it was just so easy. But Vanderpants was on fire, Kevin Huerter. 26, 5 and 4 with 6 dribbles on 71%. And you know what Michael Brown does. If someone is cooking like Huerter, he will give him an extended run at things. And Huerter is on fire at the moment. So if you want to stream him in, do it until it's not good enough anymore. Keon Ellis got 5 assists and 3 steals. That's enough, but I don't trust it. I wouldn't bother in 10 or 12 or 14s. I would be very, 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 very close. Actually, I'm there already. Ooh, got there.
Get that garbage out of here.
To dropping Keegan Murray. In 10s. 12s, maybe. 7 points, 25 minutes, 1 steal, 2 blocks. I was incredibly worried about Keegan heading into this season. It's been worse than I thought. I think you can move. Sabonis had 19, 12, and 6, and DeRozan had 18, 1, and 4. Shout out to the anonymous executive. Malik Monk had 16, 2, and 3 in 27 minutes. But again, I'm not going to read... Colby Jones, who's a real player, played... And that's not Isaac Jones, who's been playing well, nor is it Mason Jones, who's on this team. This is Colby Jones, second-round pick from last season. He played 20 minutes in this game. So we're not going to do much with that. Also, we're not going to do anything with Doug McDermott, who had hit 6 threes in 8 minutes. 18 points with literal zeros everywhere else. Just otherworldly garbage time blow up from Doug McDermott. You can very comfortably ignore it. Now let's do the final game of the day. The Portland Trailblazers and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers win at 107-98 is your final score here in favor of the Lakers. We'll talk Portland. They actually trotted out the same lineup as they have been, and they weren't able to get it done. Although there was a slight difference for the Blazers in terms of the players available, because Scoot Henderson did actually return after it feels like forever that he wasn't available. We'll talk about the Blazers side first. DeAndre Ayton, the Snowman himself, had 35 minutes, 19 rebounds, and he blocked a shot. Did he take a free throw? Of course not. But he did have 14 and 19, so that's pretty good. Still no Rob Williams, still no Donovan Clingan. Clingan's a while out. Williams, I don't know, maybe soon. Who knows? Who knows? Scoot Henderson only played 21 minutes, but 13 points. He shot 50%, 100% from the line, but 0 assists. I don't think we need to roster Scoot at this stage. And Shaden Sharp was fine. And I think every single game from Shaden recently has been fine. 19 and 7, 2 threes. 46 from the field is fine. 75 from the line is fine. I just don't know that he's a must-roster player. In fact, I think he might not be. And that doesn't mean you need to drop. It just means you don't need to hold. And there is a grey area in the middle there. Simons, 14, 1, and 4, while Jeremy Grant, this bloke. What an absolute showcase of a trade to get him to the Lakers. 3 points on 8%. 8. He was 1 of 12. He had a steal, though, so that's sick. One of the most overrated players in the NBA. And honestly, we're not there, but we're getting close to him being actually just a drop straight up. He's so bad. Denny Avdija played only 23 minutes. He had 13, 4, and 2. And with Kamara not actually injured, I don't really know why you'd want to be holding on to Denny. Another overrated player.
Get that garbage out of here.
Kamara was fine, 8 and 5 with a steal, but that's really, again, not quite good enough to be a 12-team league player. So these players, like Ayton, we are holding him. But Sharp, don't know. Probably not. Scoot, no. Kamara, no. Simons, yes, just. Avdija, no. Grant, no. Williams will be when he gets back, but it's a lot of nothing on this team. A lot of nothing. It's very frustrating. On the Lakers side of the equation, what we did have was LeBron James losing out on his quest to play all 82 games, because of course that was ridiculous. So there was no LeBron and there was no Austin Reeves. So bear those two things in mind. Their number one point guard and their number one point guard. Reeves and LeBron. So Gabe Vincent started, not D'Angelo Russell. But Russell cooked. 34 minutes, 28, 5 and 14. Just after I said, I think I might be done with Russell. And of course this happens and I feel stupid. As always with D'Angelo Russell. But I will say this. Sure, hold him and definitely grab him. That's fine. Is this a turning point? Probably not. He was literally benched for Gabe Vincent. And it needed LeBron and Reeves being out to get this. Could this kickstart everything? Could it change JJ Redick's mind? Possibly. And that's why you go, hey, maybe I'll hold on. But man, it is consistent down. Then one goes up. You go, hey, D'Lo's back. Or is he? Or is he still trash and had a good game because other guys are out? I don't know. It was also a good game from Rui Hachimura. Well, that's how you know it's all fake. Rui scored 23 points with 4 steals and a block, and I honestly just don't care. I don't think we care about that in 12-team leagues. Well, Davis had 30 and 11 and 5 blocks, and Gabe Vincent had 3 points. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you Gabe Vincent's a better player than D'Angelo Russell at the moment, because I don't think he is. But they've been using him over Russell, which shows you how bad Russell's been. Let's do a quick check-in on Dalton. Dalton Connect had 6 points in 22 minutes with 8 rebounds. Still remains absolutely a mystery why he would fall to pick 17.
Get that garbage out of here.
And Cam Reddish had 6 points in 26 minutes. But so much of this game can be chucked out because LeBron's not there and Reeves not there. And that's going to impact a lot of stuff here. So, yeah, we roll with Davis, obviously. You could try with Russell, but I'm skeptical. You don't roster connect. You don't do anything with Vincent. You don't do anything with Rui. You just ignore most of it. The guy that actually did start here was Max Christie, who had 4 points. And I have liked Christie. I don't know that he's going to be him, really. It might not happen. It's probably not going to happen, in fact. What we could do now, though, is I could tell you who won the awards of the day, the lines of the night. And we'll start off with the monstrous. Good luck guessing this one. Nikola Jokic, 48, 14, and 8. Huge minutes, huge production. He's just been ridiculously good. I think we all know that. The waiver wire line of the night. Timothy John McConnell gets the nod here. 30 points with 2 steals and 2 blocks. Just keep streaming him while players are out. Your young gun of the night is not Victor Wembanyama. It was close, so we go to Keontae George instead. 25, 5, and 7 for George, who's putting up some solid numbers over the recent period of time. And your dud of the night, don't debate this one. It's not even close to a debate. It's Brook Lopez. 3 points, 3 rebounds, and a lot of zeros for Brook as he continues the absolute roller coaster of a season that it is. Let's take a look at the top 6 guys across... Why did that button not work? What happened there? Let's try it again. Top 6 play... That's the wrong button. What's going on? Let's try that again. The top 6 players. Is that graphic not working? It doesn't appear like it is. I don't know what's going on, but my transitions have stopped working, and if I sit and try and figure it out for too long, then the show's never going to go out. So let's just do the top 6 players of the day. 4 category leagues. Number 1 is Jokic, followed by Anthony Davis, followed by Giannis Antetokounmpo, followed by Tyrese Maxey, Tyler Hero, and D'Angelo Russell. Your top 6 waiver wire players. At the top, we have Timothy John McConnell. Then Kevin Huerter, both are streamable options. Justin Champagny, that's the Wizards guy. It depends on who's in and who's out, honestly. Kelly Oubre is worth a small look. Dylan Brooks is always just going to be on that list. And then Marvin Bagley sort of out of nowhere as well. Much the same with Justin Champagny. If we take a look at your top 6 Yahoo Points League guys, number 1 was Jokic, followed by Davis, Antetokounmpo, Maxey, D'Angelo Russell, and Dennis Schroeder. And your top 6 ESPN Points League guys, we go to Jokic, Davis, Schroeder, TJ McConnell, D'Angelo Russell, and Yanni Antetokounmpo. Now, I know this show's gone on a long time, but we might as well do it. Let's do it. My little graphic's not working, but let's try and have a look at industry pickup and how things went across on those that league. And after a really slow start, I am starting to cook now. A 6-3 victory for me against Josh and Evan from Point Made. Let's have a quick look at the standings in that league. Hang on. I'm up to second. What is going on? I did not realize I was cooking like that. Wowee. All right. There you go. That was a quick turnaround. Is that right? That doesn't feel... I feel like I've rigged something. Anyway, I'm up to second in industry pickup. Interesting. So I beat Josh and Evan 6-3. Kingy went 5-4 against Curran. Willie went 6-3 against Alex Burns. Angle Fantasy Basketball beat Jake from Fantasy Trash Talk 6-3. Joel and Mitch Casey, 4-4-1 tie from those guys. And Kyle McEwen goes and beats Sam and Liam 5-4. I'm going back to those standings. What is going on? How am I up to 2? Let's go. All right. What a slow start that was. And now we are ready to cook. Let's take a look at the other leagues, the other auction league that I did on the show. Let's take a look where I went there. Oh, yeah. Speaking of cooking, that's the reverse cook. 0-8-1. I got pantsed. Who did I have out there? Oh, yeah. Jalen Johnson today was bad. Yeah, that's just bad for me. But I did finally get Chris Middleton back. That's a shocking performance, though. Let's go to this head-to-head Roto trial league that Kingy chucked out there, which I am winning, I believe. I'll check the standings on that too. 6-3. This is one where you play every opponent every week. 6-3, 7-2, 6-3, 5-4, 6-3, 2-7. Mitch got me there. 5-4 against Titus. 7-2 and 5-4. What's my standings? Oh, yeah, there we go. 50 and 13 with a 79% winning rate. Oh, I'm loving that. All right, so on top over there as well. Let's look at the Locked On. We haven't looked at the Roto Leagues for a bit. The Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl Draft and Stash. I'm in the Aquamarine division. I'm 7th. That's not that good. Let's have a look at the overall standings leader in the Draft and Stash. All right, let's go combined standings. Who is on top? Badlands DS. Doughboys, then Cardiff Ballers. Congratulations to you guys. Let's check the other Roto League, the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Roto, which is not the Draft and Stash. I'm in the Aquamarine. Oh, we can't process that request, can't we, Fantrax? Okay, why is that? We'll try it again. I mean, because I'm in the wrong one. I'm in the Pine division. That's what I'm in the Roto Green. I'm 11th there, but don't panic. Only 218 games played. I am playing it slow, and we will get those games back. I'm 40 games off of tops. I'm 25% fewer games. That's why we're at the bottom, and that is totally cool in Roto. Totally okay. I'll start to build those games up soon. Let's take a look at the scoring in the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl, the Category League version. And how'd I go there? Ooh, yuck. 8-1 down and 6-3 down. That's a bad one, that one. And I think the points league one might be just as bad. I haven't actually looked at the scores here. As it eventually loads. What did I do? I lost, and I lost. Yeah, bad. Haven't had a bad run in both the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowls for this week. But loving the Roto Trial League, loving my team on the Industry Pickup as well. They're going pretty well. So I'm happy with those. All right. That brings us through now to the end of the show. Finally, we got there. What you can do in the interim here, you can hit the thumb on the video. You can subscribe. And again, I hope your week 7 went well. I hope you are planned for this weird short week. We're going to have a lot of shows still coming. Don't worry. Just be some slightly different formats because there's very few games over the next couple of days. So remind yourself, again, let's be positive over this holiday period. Let's be positive to ourselves and others in our league. Friendly banter is fun. But let's also remember that, we do good things. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.